Hello and welcome to Tricks of the Stray channel. Today is the 14th of March 2017. In today's video we have Liam Hemsworth. Now he's the brother of Chris Hemsworth, and if you've already been on this channel, you've already known that we have a video on Chris Hemsworth. And now before I go any further, as I usually say, it's your first time of watching this channel, I advise you to pause this video right here. Look for the primer video. Watch the primer video. When you're done watching the primer video, also, if you haven't downloaded a document that's always attached to every video that we make, I advise that you download that document and you read it. It looks like a lot of pages, but it's mostly pictures, and it will take you like 30 minutes to go through it. And then you can come back and continue this video. And at your own time, if you haven't watched the Zayn Malik video and the Marilyn Monroe video, I advise that you watch that at your own time also. Now, as I usually say, um, before I start any video, we are not against transgenders, all right? I mean, because every one of us lives, we have a fantasy that we make out and we live, and it's not necessarily real, even though being a transgender is probably very, very extreme fantasy, which I wouldn't advise anyone to be, because it's more like hurting your own self. Because at the end of the day, like I always say, you can't change your gender, your birth gender, because the skeletal and the biological structure, which is determined at the time of conception, never changes. All right, so what you're doing is just a cosmetic change, which is gonna more like it's more like a wear and tear in your body. But I mean, if you do that, that's up to you. All right, what we're trying to expose here is that there's an organized system put in place, all right, that's taking children before they can reach that age of making the decision in which they say, okay, I want to leave the fantasy of being in a different gender. These children are taken, mutilated, castrated, and all sorts of things done to these kids. And they're forced to live in a sex and gender that's not ours. It's pretty harrowing. When I talk about it, it really it touches a part of my soul, my spirit, because this is hurtful. I mean, like I say, I mean, if you're old enough to make the decision, I mean, that's your life. God judges you, not me, right? And like I've always said before, the people who are at the helms of this organization and this system that's put in place, which is encouraging, making it to thrive, blessing it, giving it everything that they need to be able to successful in this agenda, is the Vatican. And now, with that said, one of the things I'm always trying to, make people understand is that a channel is dedicated to not just talking but showing you facts. All right, and one of the things that you have to come to understand when you're searching for the truth, I mean, when we were much younger, we were always told, if it quacks like a duck, it walks like a duck, it is a duck. It's one of those things that you have to understand, you have to bear in mind when you're looking for the truth. If it walks like something, talks like something, it is what you think it is. I don't want you going over, like, second guessing yourself and making mistakes. Because one of the things that you have to learn when you're figuring out, trying to discover the truth about something, is that you have to follow the actions. So for example, what I'm trying to say is this, because most times it's more like, if you listen to a lot of the politicians around you, they say a lot of stuff, be it Obama, be it Trump, and they never follow up with what they say. If you follow a man's words, you probably get lost. But if you follow his actions will always speak clearer than his words. I mean, we always say that all the time, that actions speak louder than words. So when you're trying to follow the truth, you have to follow the actions. Don't necessarily worry about the words. Listen for the actions. Look at what the man or woman is doing. That will actually tell you what who or he or what he or she is. All right. So for example, I mean, I don't like it's not like I don't like quoting from the Bible because I don't want to make it sound too religious because I'm trying to show you facts. But I'll always quote from the Bible as well because it's my favorite book. If you read it, it will make you wise. If you can read it and see the logic inside, it will make you wise. That's why the Vatican doesn't want people studying the Bible. That's why they're contradicting the Bible on everything. I've made a video on that before. You can go back and look at the catalog and see and try to find out what I'm saying. I advise that you watch all the videos in this channel. You will learn something. So, like I'm saying right now, Christ said, Yehoshua said, right? You will know a tree by its fruit. So, what does that mean? For example, an apple tree cannot bear oranges. If it bears oranges, it wasn't an apple tree. All right? So an apple tree should bear apples. So what was he trying to say? So for example, someone says, I love you, but he's trying to kill you. Even though he's saying I love you with his mouth at the same time, but he's trying to kill you. That goes to show you right there and then that he doesn't really love you. His words are lies. His action of him trying to kill you is what he really means to do. So that's why you can't follow the words of anybody. You have to follow the actions. The actions will tell you the results. It will tell you who the person and what his purpose is. So one of the things I'm trying to show you right now, after saying all of that, is that if you've noticed in American law is written in Latin. When you go to a court, most of the things that you read, anything that has to do with law in the United States of America, and not just United States of America, mostly around the world, it's written in Latin. Why is it written in Latin? Because the people who have the exclusivity of Latin, even though Latin is a dead language, is the Vatican. So I'm going to show you an example of what I'm talking about. So for example, we have the dollar bill, the $1 bill. If you turn the back of the $1 bill, you will see these words, annuit coeptus, and then you see another one called novus ordo seclorum, which are all Latin. And it goes to show you that the people who have the legal control over this country is the Vatican. It's right in your dollar bill. Now, if you don't know what it means, let me go to the Wikipedia page to actually show you that. Now, Novus Ordo Seclorum, which is written on the $1 bill, as I've shown you in this picture right here on the back of the $1 bill. I'll just pull this to the side, okay? So you can see. It says the phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum, okay? Now follow my mouse, all right? It says the phrase Novus Ordo Seclorum, Latin for the new order of the ages. Can you see that? It's Latin. The Vatican has the exclusivity of the language Latin because way back in the day before the Reformation, the Bible and all legal documents was written in Latin. It didn't matter what language you spoke. When the priest came to you, he would read the Bible in Latin. He would give it whatever translation he wanted in your own language. And since you didn't understand Latin, you would just say, Amen. All right? So another word that's written in that $1 bill, it's called annuit coeptus. Okay? Now let's look for the meaning of that. Annuit coeptus. Annuit coeptus in classical Latin. It's classical Latin, not just ordinary. Classical is one of the two. Just follow my mouse now. I'm going to read so you can just follow my mouse on the screen. It says it's one of the two mottos on the reverse side of the Great Seal of the United States. The Great Seal. Did you hear that? It's a seal. It's a seal that marks the United States. That means if your government is trying to say make any legal document with anybody, the seal, the stamp of authority, is in Latin and is written as annuit coeptus. Now, and it says, let me read further so you can understand the meaning of the two words. Taken from the Latin words, all right? Annuo, third person, singular present or perfect, annuit, to nod or to approve, right? And coeptum, plural, coepta, commencement, undertaking. It is literally translated he, she, it favors our undertakings. So who is favoring your undertaking? Which God is it talking about? Is it talking about the God of the Bible? Because you couldn't refer to God as a he or she or it, right? Going to show you proof positive that the Vatican does not worship the God of the Bible. So with that said, let's get into the story of Liam Hemsworth and how all this started to get into place. Now, Liam Hemsworth has a brother, all right? And if you've been on this channel, I have a video on Chris Hemsworth, who's the brother of Liam Hemsworth. Now, something happened. I was watching that video again because sometimes I always like going back and making sure that I am giving you the best information possible, that I'm not misleading you or giving you any sort of misinformation. All right. Our channel is dedicated to educating your mind, training you so you can know how to think. Now, so there's a picture of when I made a video on Chris Hemsworth, I had this picture here. All right. The picture that you're looking at right now on the screen. And this picture, I thought this was Chris Hemsworth. All right. So I pulled this picture in just to show you the hourglass figure that Chris Hemsworth has, so you can know that he was born a genetically female. So when I looked at this picture, so I was doing some other research and some stuff, and this picture popped up, and he said it was Liam Hemsworth. So I was like, wait a minute, I think I have this picture on my video, on a Chris Hemsworth video. So I was saying, okay, let me go back and watch the video and make sure. So when I went back and I watched this video, because I remember on that video, on the Chris Hemsworth video, I had said that I hadn't taken a look yet at Liam Hemsworth, who was his brother. So when I saw this picture, I was like, okay, this is Liam Hemsworth. I mistakenly placed his picture in the Chris Hemsworth video. So let me pull him out. So, but on second thought, when I looked at it again, I'm looking like, he seems to have hips. What's going on here? Let me take a look. So I went back and did some more digging on Chris Hemsworth, all right? And one thing I did discover while on that investigation was that he's a she, right? Chris Hemsworth is she. We all know that. If you haven't watched the Chris Hemsworth video, I would advise you to pause the video right here and go look for the Chris Hemsworth video on this channel. Watch that, and then you can come back. All right. Now, if you've watched the Chris Hemsworth video, I didn't know that he was married to Elsa Pataki. Now, Elsa is a lady. If you've watched any of the Fast and Furious movies, I think Fast and Furious Part 6 to be actual, she was the one who was like the Brazilian cop in the Fast and Furious 6 with The Rock, with Dwayne The Rock Johnson, right? And she was the cop who was trying to help him in Brazil. And in that movie also, she dated Dominic Toretto, who's acted by Vin Diesel in the part 6 of that movie. It's Elsa Pataki right here, Elsa Pataki. So I was surprised. I was like, So Elsa Pataki is married to Chris Hemsworth. Now, if you already know, Chris Hemsworth is female, right? So these are two females on here, and I'm wondering, where did they get those children from? All right. Now, and Going further, all right? Going further after this. This is just something for your own, just some basic info. You can go take a look and do a wiki on Elsa Pataki, so you can maybe read a little more about her and get to know what how she came into being. One of her alma maters, she has an alma mater in now Elsa Pataki here has an alma mater, right, in a school called CEU San Pablo University. Can you look at my mouse right here, right? Now, so because like I always say, I'm always trying to show you facts. So you don't just think that, the channel and Tricks of the S Trade is just talking. Now, if you go to this school, if you click on the school, CEU San Pablo University, which Elsa Pataki goes forward to, and you go to the affiliation, see the on the screen, follow my mouse right now. Can you see right here? It's a Catholic school. So it doesn't just seem like we're just talking, that the Vatican are the people behind this. Who, because like I said, if you've already watched the Chris Hemsworth video, you already know he's female, right? And Elsa Pateka is a female. So where are they getting the children from? You can see right here, the Vatican is allowing them, is giving them, right, the facilities to have children, take children and take children, right, manufacture children, and do whatever they want to do with them. So with that said, let's get back into um, the Liam Hemsworth in particular. So now I've given you the whole background of how this happened. So when I started looking at Liam Hemsworth, I found out. Now here's a picture of. I just found out there are three brothers, right? Now the eldest. This is the eldest brother of all of them, or all three of them, and he is called Luke Hemsworth, right? He's older, and then Chris right here, which we already did a video on, is the middle brother, right? And you have Liam over here that we're having a video on right now. Now, when I started looking at this, I saw I've talked about how to measure skulls. That, and if you've watched any of the videos and you've downloaded a document that we always advise you to download and study and read, you would notice that I've always said that a man's skull, it's a biological fact. A man's skull is at the least 10% bigger than a female skull, right? And now, when I looked at this picture, because I wanted to bypass the Liam Hemsworth because I wasn't really bothered about looking at him, even after like suspecting that, this he has hips. I misplaced his picture for Chris Hemsworth. If you notice the two heads on these people, right, on Liam here and Chris, you will notice that the skulls are almost identically the same. So if I was wrong in my conjecture when I made that mistake, Liam's head right here, if he was male, should be bigger than his brothers over here because we already confirmed that Chris is female. But as you can see, the heads are identically the same. All right? So that gave me a lot of suspicion to go on to dig because I didn't really have a lot on Liam's Hemsworth. Now, if you look at his brother over here, I've checked him out and he seems to be male. I haven't done a lot of research. And if you can see that his head here wants to be, he's the shorter people. He's the shortest guy amongst the three. But you can see that his head is comparably squarer and wants to be almost as large as these two taller dudes. Okay? Now, let's go further, right? Now, here is the family, the parents of Chris, Liam, and Luke Hemsworth. All right, these are their parents. Okay, so if you were trying to wonder about the faces, the parents, all right, who take their children, mutilate or castrate them for the sake of maybe making money, or for the sake that the Vatican allows them to do so and is giving them a blessing, or they're part of like some sort of Vatican lineage. You're looking at the most evil parents here in the world. Let me try to get their names so you could know how evil these people are. We'll go back to this page. We'll click on Liam Hemsworth, and you can see he says on this page he says that he's the son of Leonie Van Oos. It doesn't even show the real name of the woman, and his father's name is Craig Hemsworth. So when we go back to this page, right, this is Leonie and this is Craig, one of the most evil parents in the world, because anybody who could take his daughters or her daughters and force feed them hormones and force them to live in a gender that's not theirs is extremely wicked. Now, you could imagine if they could do this to their own children, what do you think they're going to do to you? You can imagine the evil that they can do to you. Enough said on this. Let's go further, right? Now, here is Liam Hemsworth, and as I've always said, a female males don't have an arch in their back because males are not designed to bear children. As you can see right here, Liam has an arch in his back. Now, if you haven't the time yet to go through a document, let me just show you what I'm talking about right here. Now, this is a female over here, and this is a male. Females have an arch in their back because they're designed to carry children, to get pregnant, to carry babies. So without that arch in their back, the female is gonna have problem carrying the child. She's probably gonna tumble over. The child's gonna come out of the pelvis. The pelvis also has to be tilted, and there has to be an arch in the back, and the pelvis also has to be wider, right? As you can see, there's a female right here. You follow my mouse. The arch in her back just starts dipping just below her shoulder blades. It goes in when it gets to the navel from the back. It starts coming out and right into her bum over here. With a man, the back, and with a female, also the back of a female is always going to be shaped like a C, depending on where you're drawing the line from, or it's going to be shaped like an S. All right. With a man, the back is always going to be shaped like a D shape. Men have straight backs. If the back wants to arch, it's going to arch outside. Can you see that? With a female, it's going to arch inside. A man's back is flat and straight. There always has to be an arch in that back. I'll just scroll through the document a bit just to show you some more pictures, all right? There always has to be an arch in a female's back. If she bends, you're always going to see that deep arch, all right? Let's scroll down furthermore to this document so I can show you some other stuff about it, right? You can see a female, the way the female is standing over it. There's an arch in her back. The pelvis is tilted forward. So that's why the tummy is always going to slant into the pelvis, all right? Because the pelvis is tilted forward. So when a woman is pregnant, the baby doesn't slip out of the pelvis but stays inside, all right? With a female, there's always gonna be an arch in her back. It doesn't matter if if she's fit like this or fat. There's always gonna be an arch. Starts just below the shoulder blades and dips into a pelvis, dips into a navel, right, and comes into a pelvis, right. It doesn't matter if she has muscles. You still see that arch in her back. Always arch in her back, all right. And that's what Liam over here has. Can you see that very clearly? He has an arch in his back, meaning that he's not a genetically born male, but genetically born female. Forced and fed hormones by so-called parents. I don't know if those parents are real, if they're real or manufactured or whatever, but there are his parents all the same. All right? Let's go further and show you some more pictures. Here is Liam again. As you can see, he has an arch in his back, right? It may not be very clear on this one, but you can see the pelvis is tilting forward, just like in the picture that I showed you here on a web page. Let me show you that again. Let me go further up so you can see what I'm talking about. You see that? You see that tummy right there? The slant, the pelvis is tilted forward. That's what Liam has over here. Tilted forward. See that? You're looking at a female. All right? Another picture. Look at that hourglass figure that he has right here. Can you see that? If you follow my mouse? Look at that hourglass figure. You know, one of the tricks of hiding a lot of stuff, like I always tell you, when the picture is going to reveal too much, it becomes grainy, it becomes fuzzy, it becomes hazy, and you really can't see. It becomes pixelated, so they can deny this at any point in time, but you can still see this Liam Hemsworth, and you can see that hourglass figure because of the wide hips that he has here. All right? If you know what a female looks like, let me just show you one more time from one of the photographs, right? See that? Hourglass figure, wide hips because of the wide pubic arch that females have. The wide pubic arch makes the hips go farther apart and then pulls everything farther apart. So the legs and the hips are farther apart and you have the thigh gap for females. All right. Another picture here, as you can see, right? See that? Hourglass figure, wide hips because of the wide pubic arch. And what do you have on Liam Hemsworth over here? Hourglass figure, right? Let's go further. Can you still see that arch in his back? Can you see that? You're looking at a female. This ain't no dude, right? You're looking at a female. See that arch? See how his bum starts way, because a female's bum starts way up higher, right? Right up below her navel. That's where a female's bum starts, or above her navel, sorry to say. Above the navel. See his navel right here? His bum starts right there, right? You're looking at a female, okay? Here's another picture of Liam Hemsworth. As you can still see that arch in her back. I call it a her right now. Her name is Liam Hemsworth. Liam Hemsworth, Miss Liam Hemsworth. See that? Arch in her back. Can you see that? All right. Let's go further. Some more pics. And here's a picture that I really had to dig deep, but I found this. This is very, very glaring. See the arch in her back. See that? See that? If you're not aware, let me just show you again from a document so you bear no illusions as what you're looking at. See that? Arch in her back. Over here with Liam Hemsworth, arch in her back. You're looking at a female, all right? Let's go further. Same picture again. See the hourglass figure? I don't know what's happening here. What's going on there? Are those really balls? I don't see it. Why is it stuck that way? All right? Are those really? So it's one of the tricks I'm showing. The picture is very grainy, hazy, and fuzzy because they're trying to hide facts. But you can still see the wide hips. See that? The hourglass figure. Can you see that? And the arch in her back. Liam Hemsworth is a female. And look at the short shoulders as well. The shoulders are not extended outside of the body. Now, one of the tricks that you're going to see, maybe what's going to happen in the near future, is that they're going to try to bulk him up. Sooner or later, he's going to have a lot of muscles, like his brother, his elder brother, Chris Hemsworth, because it's going to show more and more that he's female. All right, you can see that. So you're not suffering under any illusions at all. See that? All right, let's go further. And here's a picture. Now, we've already had Miley Cyrus on one of her videos already. And she just seems to love these creatures, these tranny looking creatures. Because we already, if you've watched the video on Schwarzenegger's family, Patrick Schwarzenegger actually, she was dating that creature at one time. And that was a woman as well. That was female. She just happens to just love this. I don't know if that she's getting paid to do this or not, or she just loves hanging around these tranny males, all right? Because we've known that they were off and on for a while, and then they wanted to get married, they got engaged, and all that kind of stuff. That's how the news media plays on your mind, and the news media, who's owned by the Vatican, is telling you all that stories, right? She just loves these tranny looking creatures, right? And you can see it's a female right here. Look at how beautiful it looks. Liam Hemsworth is a female. You're under no illusions. That's why, in the industry, they say that everybody has to be a Freemason to be successful in the industry, because you have to keep secrets. You get paid for your silence. The system is built on lies. So you have to contribute to continue in the manipulation and telling of lies to be successful. And that's what Miley Cyrus is doing at her very best, right? Putting this guy on the platform, putting this female on the platform, and keep on deceiving you that you're looking at a male when it's female, right? Another picture. And that's her in a bikini still with Miss Liam Hemsworth. All right? Can you see that? All right. So with that, we come to the end of a video for today. I would advise that you subscribe, and that you, as I always say, don't believe anything you see on TV. Question everything, even the history that you're being told. Question everything. As I always say, and I'll leave you with these words: look with your eyes and see with your brain. Subscribe and stay tuned. Thank you, and bye bye.